everybody, this is the Gem Book Reviews. This will be my first ever YouTube video on this channel, and I'm excited to get to know everybody from the community a whole lot better. So to start this off, I'm going to do a bookish tag that I found off of Pinterest. So question 1 says, what book did you finish last? The last book I finished was Proof Positive by Philip Margolin and Hook, Line, and Sinker by Tessa Bailey. I rated Philip's book 3.5 stars and Tessa Bailey's 5 stars. Question 2, what am I currently reading? I am currently reading Dare to Marry You by the incredible Canadian author Julia Jarrett. She is both a friend of mine and an impeccable author. I would highly recommend any of her books, any of her series. I started with Lucky Strike, and I highly recommend that one, as well as her Donnellys of Dogwood Cove and the original Dogwood Cove series. She does the best small town romance you'll ever find. She's like a warm hug, and it's Canadian, which I love. What book am I planning on reading next? I am planning on reading, it is a Jane Eyre retelling with spice. When I was a kid, Jane Eyre was my favorite kids book to reread over and over again, and I haven't read it since then, so I'm extremely excited to start this one. It is by Skye Warren, who I've never read before, and it is called Private Property. Question 4. What was the last book you added to your TBR pile? The last book I added to my TBR pile was The Secrets of a Viscount by Linda Ray Sand. That is a new author to me, but I loved the cover, and I'll put it up above so you can see it. Incredible looking cover. I'm excited to try her. Both of those books by Skye Warren and Linda Ray Sand were free on Kobo. So if you're Canadian or you're a user of Kobo, check those out. Question 5, I think. What book did you last reread? I don't reread books a lot often because I started my reading journey again about 3 years ago, and I just feel like there's so many books I've missed that I haven't been able to really dive in or catch up to all the new releases and all the things that I missed from like the 2000s to now when I was busy in college and not reading anymore. But now that I'm back reading full-time all the time, I would like to reread, honestly, some Dogwood Cove. Speaking of lovely Julia Jarrett, this is Rumors and Romance by Julia Jarrett. Incredible small town romance, super swoon-worthy. I fell in love with her writing. I love Mila. This is Mila here. And I love her romance. She's one of my favorites. And yeah, I would love to read this again, over and over again, honestly. If I could read it all day, every day, I probably would. So yeah, when I get a chance to start rereading again, Julia Jarrett, you're my girl. Number 6, which book was the last one you really, really loved? That would be Love and Gelato by Jenna Evans Welch. That is such a handful of a name, but actually she is Richard Paul Evans' daughter. And I love Richard Paul Evans' Christmas books. And I recently fell in love with her writing after Love and Gelato. That book really spoke to me as somebody who didn't have an incredible relationship with their dad. And exploring that, as well as learning your whole family's history and where your parents came from before they had you, it's a really heart-touching story, and I really would recommend anyone picking that up. It is considered YA, so there is no spice. Definitely pick it up. Highly recommend. Question 7. Where were the last books you bought? The last book I bought was from Tessa Bailey, of course, because I'm going to meet her in the summer of next year, 2024. I'm coming for you, Tessa. And that was Wreck the Halls. I'm really excited to try that. I know some people have had really mixed reviews on it. I loved Hook, Line, and Sinker. That was my first Tessa Bailey. I have tons more downstairs in my other library that I need to get to. Wreck the Halls is up there on my TBR. Okay, question 8. Paperback or hardcover, why or why not? I tend to go for paperback if I'm going to read it, or hardback if I'm going to collect it. I have some special edition hardbacks from example ML Philpott, if you know, you know, or the Gone with the Wind hardbacks, yeah, collector's editions, Pride and Prejudice, those are definitely a go-to for hardbacks. Everything else, I find paperback is just easier to hold. I'm a massive e-reader, so I need something light that I'm going to be pack around in my bag for work or traveling. Anywhere you take a book, I find personally paperbacks are a lot easier to carry. YA, new adult or adult? I'm still trying to figure out the whole new adult versus adult thing, so I'm just gonna say adult and hope that question's accurate. I tend to read more adult fiction than I would YA fiction, and I occasionally dive into YA, but not very often. Mostly it's just to see what it's out there, and as well to read things that I probably missed when I was in my youth and I didn't read it at the time. Question 13. I think we're completely out of order here, but we're just going to read off the questions that I screenshotted. Okay, name a book with a really bad movie and TV adaptation. I'm sorry, it's going to be Love and Gelato. That book made me so happy as a reader, and I connected to it so hard, but when I went to watch the Netflix movie, I was so disappointed. I didn't last 20 minutes before I had spent my poor fiance's ear off, just complaining about how everything in the movie was not how it was supposed to be. Everything down to the location, the car they drove, where she lived, the whole storyline, the characters. They changed characters' names. They changed love interest names. I was just, made me angry. I could go on a whole rant on a separate video if you wanted to really hear my real rant about that. But that was the adaptation I didn't love. Number 14, name a book where the movie TV adaptation actually was better than the original. Oh, I don't know. I don't think, I'm a person who, once I read the book, I find the book is always better. And it's, yeah, I would say, you know what though? I will say this. I will think season 2 of The Summer I Turned Pretty was better than the books. I think that's because the actors in the show made them so real and so much easier to connect. Like, I know Taylor's character in the books, I hated her. But in the show, I loved her. She was a huge part of it. She made me laugh, Party in the USA scene, if you know what I mean. Those are some of my top favorite scenes in season 2. And I think, as a whole, the actors played a huge role in making it better than the actual books, in my opinion. Okay. This is another question. Best winter read. Oh, best winter read would be, I think it's called Playing with Fire by Emmy Carter. I will put the cover up if I didn't say it right. Even if I did, I'll still put the cover up. But yeah, that to me is my favorite vacation read. I still think about it. I'm going on another trip this year, and as I'll be wheeling my cart down the airport walkway, I will be still thinking of Emmy Carter's hockey romance, stuck in an airport, Hallmarky book. I might even read it on the way there because I have it on my Kindle, and I also own a physical copy. Just such a sweet but spicy hockey book that if you love Hallmark movies and you love Stuck in the Airport, pick it up. It's worth it, and it's also one of the books that I'm also going to say on this question is underrated. So Emmy Carter didn't get the love she deserved on that series, and she totally did. So if you're a hockey fan, if you love Hallmark, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. Okay, am I pro or anti e-reader? I'm always pro e-reader, okay? Pro reader all the time. I have e-reader, I have e-reader, I have e-reader somewhere else because I don't know where my Kindle is at the moment. But I have my Kindle Fire, my Kobo, and my Kindle. So I could say yes, I'm e-reader positive. I love the lightness of it. I love the versatility of it, and I love that you can decorate it as your own. All my e-readers have their own separate identity. I love that you can do library. You can do Hoopla. You can do all the things. Right now I'm on a book buying ban. It's for my fiance is listening to me downstairs. I'm on a book buying ban, and all my books I've been reading lately are either ARCs, library, or Hoopla, or Prime Reads. Free is free, and and Kobo too. Kobo has free reads, and I will, yeah, just choose whatever e-reader I need to use to read those. But yes, as much as I love paperback, even when I loved reading Hook, Line, and Sinker by Tessa Bailey, that sat in my nightstand for way too long of weeks because I just, by the time I got to bed and lights had to go off to go to sleep, I was not able to just pick it up. I even tried to Harry Potter it under the bed, and it just wasn't, when my neck was not having it. But my e-reader and my audiobooks, those were on every night. Because I am a ebook addict. I'm an ebook addict, and I am a audiobook addict, and I've now gone back to the whole will read more than 2 books at the same time that I used to do when I was a teenager, because sticking to one book now all of a sudden is a challenge, and I actually like the versatility of having different e-readers and having a physical book in my drawer and having different spaces for different books. Book Depository or Amazon? I don't use Book Depository. I don't use Thrift Books. I don't use Book Outlet. I know Book Outlet is also Canadian. I don't use it. I use Amazon because I find for books, I'm trying to like find a book here, like here. I find a book like this, which is Stroke of Winter by one of my favorite authors ever, Wendy Webb. If you like gothic horror fiction, please pick this up. It is set in Lake Superior. She is superior in my opinion, and I'm still gonna get the first book because I read the first book first, but they're all interconnected. You don't actually have to read them all in order, but the other one's called Daughters of the Lake. I like to price check on Amazon because as a Canadian, Indigo sadly is a lot higher when you're trying to shop for books, and I find Amazon will price match. They'll lower the price often, and you get free shipping. And oftentimes there's also used copies of books. For all of us used copy people who like authors, like one of my favorites, Julie Chase, who is the pen name of Julianne Lindsay for those Harlequin readers. Finding her books that are no longer available and out of print because they're not being currently published. Amazon, Amazon, Amazon. Because as a Canadian, Thrift Books and all those other websites, they just charge so much for shipping, and it's all in US dollars, and as a Canadian, the US dollar is extremely high right now. So if you want cheap books, if you're interested in cheap books, Amazon, Amazon, Amazon. I will recommend them all day long for collecting the books, and because even my Harlequin collection, all those that I need to find hard to find, I often find them off Amazon, or occasionally I will use a website, but it has to have free shipping because I'm just, yeah, a $30 plus the shipping isn't just, it ain't doing it for me. All right, now that that rant is over, do you prefer to buy books online or in a store? Online. I am kind of a book snob when it comes to Chapters Indigo. I'm sorry. I find Chapters Indigo is great for book talk. It is great for popular fiction. But like I said, Stroke of Winter, Chapters won't have it. Julie Chase, Chapters won't have it. A lot of my Jen McKinley's Chapters will have the first, or the most recent 3, and none of the originals. And then someone who started at the beginning and is collecting the backlist, I'm going on your websites, I'm going on Amazon, I'm hunting out specific books. I'm a specific book hunter, so I need to have a more diverse range. And I also find that when I was a teenager and I went to Chapters, they had a whole much more of a selection than they do now. And I wish they would change that, but I understand that Book Talk rules the world right now, which I'm totally a fan of. So I would say I'm an online book shopper for the most part. Occasionally, like right now I have about $50 worth of Indigo Chapters points I need to spend by the end of the year, so I'm waiting to see if their Boxing Day sale is any better than their Black Friday sale, and I might shop either online or on store and get the books that I need from my backlist of books that I've read on Kindle and loved and need a physical copy of. Question: if you could change one thing about mainstream literature, what would you change? I would change, I don't know if this is about mainstream literature, but this is about like books in general, book buying, books at the library. I would change that people actually explore backlists more. I want to see people dive into the library. I have a big, would you say ick? I have an ick when people come to the library, because I'm on the library board, I'm on the library volunteer, and when I sit there and people come in and they just go straight to the new and straight to the book talk, and they're not adventuring out, because we have tons and tons of books. We have new authors, older stuff, and we have like tons of fiction and nonfiction and biographies and cozies and romance and anything you can get your hands on. I find people don't adventure a lot to the backlist, and I'm a backlist reader. I often start authors in the very back of their backlist and continue on. So yes, I wish people more often would venture out of their comfort zones and explore the libraries and the bookstores a little bit more. That's my take. How many books have you read so far this year? Okay, Goodreads, this is your time to shine. I keep updating my Goodreads list because I set it super low this year. Apparently I'm 93% done my challenge. I have it set for 90 books. I am at 84. So I'm going on vacation in a couple weeks, and I'm hoping I can really ump my thing down to the 90, because I was really over, I was more and more passing my number, because I think I started it with it at like a 70 this year, and I keep bumping it up because I actually like to see my Goodreads list go, surprise, you did it, at like New Year's, like in December. Like this, as soon as the clock turns, I want to see it say you did your challenge. I don't want to see it do it 3 months early. I want the last minute. But I think last year my book challenge was like 70 books or something, and I think I did that. Oh yeah, we can see past challenges. We can see 2022 I read 75 out of 70. I upped it this year to 90. My best reading year, however, was 2021, where I read 107. We're aiming for what's comfortable. I'm not a huge big pusher of you need to read 300 books a month. I just like to read what makes me happy at the pace I like to read. Like reading Tessa Bailey for like 3 weeks, I was fine with it. Normally I'd push myself, okay, the numbers, but I've kind of just been like, you know what, I'm just enjoying it. I want Hannah and Fox's story to end. I love it too much. How do you sort your shelves? By color, by author? I don't. This is probably my most organized bookshelf. Mostly because like my Julie Jarretts sit here. My Harlequins sit back here. I have some like Wiccan kind of books down here. Grimm fairy tales. My Gilmore Girls collection, my Jen McKinley collection, my Twilight, my Gone with the Wind, but I actually don't organize it at all. It's downstairs is a chaotic mess. It would take me probably like 20 minutes to find something, unless it's like an immediate, like I put it on the face of my library book, because those are usually my favorites, and of course they are at the front of my bookshelf. But because I have a lot of those downstairs that aren't read or haven't been read, I reorganized my bookshelf earlier this year, and I decided that I wanted random chaos, because I miss those days of walking into Indigo, used to be Chapters, and finding that next great read. And I like to go down there and fiddle with it and mess with it and touch all the books. And yeah, just get to know my library and find what I forgot I even bought. I know I backlog all my lists. I have Goodreads, I have Storygraph, I think it's called Book Tracker or something. I have a reading journal where I also write all my books down. But do I actually know where any of them are? No. Do they have any sort of order? No. Occasionally they'll be like, okay, I put a series together, but I actually, yeah, it's all random. It's not like my Nicholas Sparks collection is half and half. I have multiple editions of like Gone with the Wind, Notebook, Little Women. Like my books are literally everywhere. Who is my favorite author? Julia Jarrett. Julia Jarrett, because I have a bunch. I have Julia Jarrett, I have romance, contemporary romance. ML Philpott for dark romance. Emmy Carter, sports romance. Wendy Webb, dark gothic. Jen McKinley, cozy mystery. Love her books. Love cozies. I'm starting to find Tessa Bailey is going to be a new favorite author of mine. I would always say Nancy Drew and Trixie Belden are also favorites of mine as a child. Stephanie Meyer, she wrote Twilight. I'll give her props till I can't give her any props anymore because that really boosted my reading as a teenager, and I need to dive in and have another reread. So I have a lot of favorite authors. I can't ever pick just one, and my tastes change all the time. I'm always reading, I'm always changing. And Laura Greenwood. Laura Greenwood writes the Apprentice of Anubis series. It is a Egyptian fantasy, and I'm never really a fantasy reader, but it has a little bit of mystery. It just feels so good. It feels so cozy. It's kind of like a cozy, but it's not a cozy, and that's kind of how it feels to me. Oh, and another one. Nix Halliwell. Nix Halliwell writes Confessions of a Closet Medium cozy mystery supernatural series. She's the best. I started on book 4, and I think I'm on book 8 or 9, whichever one is last released, and I can't wait for the next book to come out next year because, yeah, it's one of my favorites of all time. Name a book you consider to be terribly underrated. Emmy Carter's, I believe it's called Playing with Fire. Yeah, that series, I think it was book 3. Book 3 was better. They planned to do book 4, but for unknown reasons it got canceled and never got published. But book 3 is my favorite. It's the hockey, it's the Hallmark, it's all the vibes. Yeah. Like I said, I will have to ship that one till I can't ship it anymore. It's my favorite. And she deserves more praise than she gets. How many books are actually in your bookshelf? I have hundreds and thousands of books in here. This doesn't even cover it. This just makes me happy. That's what it is. This just makes me happy, so we're just keeping it there. Name one of your favorite childhood books. Okay, here we are again with going back to what I just talked about. As a teenager, it was obviously Twilight. Even younger than that, it was Trixie Belden and Nancy Drew. Trixie Belden being more of a favorite because my grandmother loved her, and I got all of her collection of Trixie Beldens, and we had a tiny trailer like Trixie and Honey have in Red Trailer Mystery, and I remember reading that in my little teeny tiny trailer, and I just connected to Trixie. She was a little farm girl. Even though I wasn't a farm girl, I was a little small town girl, and Nancy was more of a city girl, right? So I collected to Trixie a lot more, and I still am rereading the whole series as well as Nancy Drew. Oh, Christopher Pike. I can't forget Christopher Pike. He's up there. Remember Me. I didn't realize how big Christopher Pike was as a teen. I thought he was brand new. I thought I was like reinventing the wheel on that one. But me and my cousin were obsessed with Christopher Pike. I read everything he re-released in that year. Yeah, I went on a series binge. I read the whole, and I have still all my original copies sitting here or downstairs. So yeah, Christopher Pike. Do you own a library card, and how often do you use it? Every day, pretty much. I use it every day. Gladly do another video. Okay, so I'm the Gem Book Reviews. This is my first YouTube video. I'll probably do more if you guys are interested in me continuing my YouTube channel. I probably talked your ear off, but I had a blast. So I will post my socials in the comments below. I will post the books I'm talking about here on my channel. Please tune in to another video, and I will check you guys later. All right, bye everybody.